Hi, this is the Anbernic Win600. I recently ordered this device and like most of you, I watched a lot of reviews to see what it's like while I was waiting for the delivery. And a lot of the reviews didn't seem very genuine. And then you realize Anbernic sent those people review units for free. So yeah, I decided when I get my unit, I'm gonna do an honest review because I paid for it myself. So is this a good device or not? Well, out the bat, I'm gonna say I like it a lot, but there's a lot to complain about also. Let's start with the build quality. Now, this thing is much bigger than I expected. For comparison, here's a Retroid Pocket 3, which is, yeah, much smaller. And this is also pretty thick. See this difference? But a lot of people said that the material here, the plastic, sucks and it doesn't feel very good. And well, it does feel a bit cheap. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's fine. It's a bit slippery, but it's all right. I don't have a problem with the plastic, but I do have a problem with the screen. You see this little bubble thing? I can't remove this, and it's under the display. It's right here under the display. I don't have a screen protector. It's just gonna be there forever, and I don't like that. But it is fine for a budget Windows device. I don't mind the build quality. I don't mind the little issues. The little imperfections are fine because this is a cheap device. The buttons feel pretty good, especially these, very clicky and nice. These are a bit mushy but also work perfectly fine. The D-pads are nice, but they are so uncomfortable to use. The positioning is terrible. When you're holding this device, you're gonna hold it like this. And to use the D-pad, I'm gonna just give you an example. Using those D-pads is very, very uncomfortable. After a while, my fingers start hurting and it's not great. If you've seen the Steam Deck or anything else, you're gonna notice that this is not where people put thumbsticks. At least one of those should have been here maybe. I don't know. It's just not comfortable to use for very long. And the problem is I bought this device mostly to play Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas on it. And they run great because they're old games, but using those thumbsticks, you best have long fingers like I do, because otherwise I don't see how anyone is gonna be able to even use this. But you know, if you're playing like 2D games with the D-pad, that's gonna be perfectly fine. And again, I have to compliment this device for not being very heavy. It's reasonably light. And with a battery like this, you can expect about 2 hours of battery life, which is fine, by the way. It's all right. Let's look around the device real quick. We have a full USB port, which is awesome. We have a micro USB Type-C for charging and for HDMI out. We have a little exhaust fan, which the fan is almost always working. So yeah, this is useful. Speaking of the fan noise is not very bad because I'm used to gaming laptops and those can get very loud. This is a small fan, it's not very loud, it's not a problem for me. But if you're in a quiet environment, you're gonna hear it for sure. But again, it's not a big deal. It keeps the device cold. It's not overheating in my experience at least. Now on this side we have volume keys, we have the power key. On this side we have a very, very useful switch. If you switch it up, you get a mouse control. This is your left click, this is your right click. This is very useful. And if you switch it down, you get an Xbox controller. When you're playing a game, all those buttons are gonna act like Xbox buttons, X input buttons, so you can play, and yeah, that's awesome. And you can also use the touch screen. It's working perfectly fine to navigate Windows. Speaking of Windows, nobody in the other reviews really showed the performance in Windows, and I'm actually pretty happy with it. It's not bad. I didn't upgrade to Windows 11 because I have it on my gaming laptop and it's the same bullshit like Windows 10. It's the same bugs. You just get a center taskbar. It's not worth the upgrade in my opinion. So just, stick with Windows 10 is my advice because you're not getting anything useful out of Windows 11. Anyways, looking on the bottom, we have a headphone jack, and I assume this was a microphone, but when I was setting up Windows and you're supposed to talk to Cortana, the virtual assistant, I could not. So I figured there's no microphone on this thing, which I don't mind, But then what is this? I have no idea. Anyways, we also have two speakers, stereo speakers, which is nice, but they are not the best. They're a bit teeny and quiet. I wish they were more powerful, but yeah, I mean, they're fine. They could have been worse. That's my take on the matter. On the back, there's just the little fan, which is spinning now, even though I'm not doing anything. Like I said, it's almost always working, but it's not an issue. We also have a select start button, this little light here, which is very annoying. I'm not saying they should not have put it, just maybe put it up here or behind the device. I don't need it looking at me all the time. There's also a home button, which I have no idea what this does. When you hold it, it opens this game capture thing. But other than that, I don't know. And a Windows button, which opens the start menu. We also have a very, in my opinion, useless key to you just click it and you get a virtual keyboard. The problem with that is if you're trying to type on Windows, you're gonna get a keyboard anyway. And the one you get from this button is different from this one for some reason. It's smaller and uglier. This is the right one. If you press the button, you get this different keyboard. And it's smaller and it's, yeah, I don't know why. But this button is useless to me. But I mean, I don't mind that Anbernic decided to give us all of those options. This is a great switch here. From a design standpoint, I really don't have any big issues with this device. Let me give it a little wipe, because yes, it does get fingerprints very quickly. I don't have any big issues with the build quality of this thing. I think it feels nice, it's reasonably light, it's very thick and not very comfortable to use the thumbsticks. That's my biggest gripes. But other than that, it's very nice. The keys are nice, the screen is nice. I wish the bezels were smaller. I wish the screen was actually as big as this. This would have been awesome, but no. We have huge bezels and this huge Anbernic logo, which they always put on their devices. Let me show you something Anbernic. Look at the Retroid Pocket 3. You see how small this is and how small the bezels are. Why do you always have to do this? Look at an iPad. Do you see Apple or iPad anywhere? No, they put it on the back. Here's an old iPad, also on the back. And iPhones and other stuff. Nobody does this anymore. So why don't you just put the Anbernic logo on the back? Oh, you did, but you had to put it on the front also. Oh, here's an Apple Watch. Do you see any text saying Apple Watch? Nope, it's on the back. It's making those huge bezels worse. This huge Anbernic logo. But anyway, so performance. It's not great. I don't mind because I was planning to play old games like Mass Effect 2, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Oblivion. They're all working fine. I'm very happy with that. Now, if you try to play newer games like Fallout 4, it lags a lot. I'm guessing Skyrim is not gonna run very well. You can use mods and stuff to optimize it, but I don't want to do that. I just want to play the normal games. You should buy this device for playing older Windows games. It's perfect for those. Just make sure they have Xbox support, Xbox controller support, because Oblivion didn't. I had to mod it. But those other ones do, and it's pretty great for that. Again, the battery life, something very important to me. It's not as bad as I expected. 2 hours is pretty good. And let's face it, if you play for 2 hours, you're gonna need a break anyway. So I don't advise anyone playing for longer than that. I didn't need to do any battery optimizing stuff. I did not upgrade the RAM. I did not upgrade the storage. And let's get on to storage. My other big problem with this thing, very little storage. And even worse, no micro SD slot. Who does that anymore? Again, Retroid Pocket 3, here's a micro SD slot. I can have anything I want on that one, but this one, there's no space for anything. If I decide to install GTA 5 or something, it's gonna fill the whole device. I'm not gonna have any storage for anything else. What's up with the little storage? And even worse, what's up with not having an SD card slot? On a Windows device, for playing big games, you don't have storage and you can't expand it. This is fucking stupid. This is the worst thing about this device is the storage. Anything else is fine. I actually really like it. For the price, this is an amazing Windows portable device. But the storage and the thumbstick placement, are a big issue. But you know, complaining is not healthy. So again, I'm gonna talk positive stuff. Playing Fallout 3, New Vegas, Oblivion, Mass Effect 2, I'm very happy with it. Let me open Mass Effect 2 because it's pretty cool just to see it working on a little device like this. Like I remember once upon a time, this game could not run on my computer, like a desktop big computer. And now it's running on this little device. It's pretty cool that you can do that because this is an awesome, huge game that you can play on this little thing. This is so amazing, Mass Effect 2 running on this thing. If you haven't played this game, you have to do it. It's an awesome game. It's one of the best games ever made. Mass Effect 2 and 3, play it immediately. So yeah, I mean, if you're playing older games, this thing is perfect. It might be a bit too heavy for some people, depending on what you're used to. For example, if you've been using like Android handhelds, these are much smaller and thinner. This is like the perfect handheld. From a design standpoint, everything is so nice about it. The Retroid Pocket 3, but it's running Android. I want to play Windows games. And for that, I knew I was gonna get something thicker, that's fine, and something louder. Do you hear the fans? Again, they're not, I mean, again, I'm used to gaming laptop fans, so this is nothing. So yeah, this is just a quick, I guess, review, overview, my opinion on this little device. Little my ass, this big device. Now, a lot of people are saying that it's a bit too expensive for what it is, and I guess I can agree. I wish it was cheaper, but I think this is the lowest, like the lowest version of this device with the weaker processor, and I think the price is fair. Now, paying for shipping and import taxes, it gets a bit high, but yeah, I mean, I don't think the price is bad. Obviously, people are gonna say that the Steam Deck is the better option because it's cheaper and way more powerful. But of course it's gonna be cheaper because Steam has all the money in the world to sell those devices at a loss. And the Steam Deck is way bigger. If you want to play old Windows games, this is perfectly fine. That's the thing, and the price is okay. And I have several Anbernic devices, they're all fine. I don't have any complaints with the company. Shipping was a bit slow, I think 3 weeks, which is way too long. Like, again, the Retroid Pocket 3. Retroid sent me this device in less than 2 weeks. Very quick shipping. Anbernic was a bit slower and they didn't have a DHL option, so delivery was through some other Chinese company that didn't have proper tracking or anything. So yeah, there are some things that are not perfect, but if you want to buy this device, I'm not gonna discourage you at all. It's very nice. I like it a lot. It has a few problems. It's not perfect, but for the price, I don't think it can be perfect. I think it's very reasonable. And it's nowhere near as bad as some people said, but it's also nowhere near as perfect as some other people said. Again, a lot of reviews were not genuine. Some were clearly being careful with their words so Anbernic can keep sending them free devices. Others were way too negative. I hope this was a nice fair look at this device. Here's something I don't like. Do you hear that? Some things are a bit loose, I think those keys. And also, it's not holding perfectly tightly here. I think someone already said that, but there should have been a little bolt here to hold this part. Again, it's not a big issue. I didn't even notice it until recently. It's a fine device. I am happy. Speaking of happy, I'm also really happy with the Retroid Pocket 3. If you want an Android handheld, which is much lighter and cheaper and feels way better, I get this one. For Android gaming. For Windows gaming, get either the Steam Deck or this one if you want something budget. This is a great budget device. I'm very happy with it. I think people are a bit unfair because it's a small company making these and they're trying to keep the price down, so obviously it's not gonna be awesome, but it's pretty awesome for me, I think. I have reasonable expectations and it succeeded them. I expected this to be worse. I expected terrible battery life. I expected screen issues. I didn't have any of that. Everything's fine. The games I want to play are working on it. And even though these thumbsticks are very uncomfortable to reach for, they're not terrible either. I mean, I have long fingers again. If you have small ones, you're gonna have a problem here. Yeah, you see why people have scripts. If I'm going off script, I have nothing meaningful to say, so I'm gonna end this video now. And I'm gonna see you next time. Bye bye.